Chapter 5: Advanced App Development Concepts. Now that you've learned the basics of app design and explored themes and styles, it's time to take a step further into more advanced app development concepts. In this chapter, we'll introduce you to 3 powerful tools that can make your apps smarter, more interactive, and secure. Integrating APIs, using databases, local and cloud, and implementing authentication. Integrating APIs. Imagine you're building an app that needs to show the weather, or maybe an app that lets users search for the latest news. Instead of creating all that data yourself, you can connect your app to an existing service that provides it. This is where APIs, application programming, interfaces come in handy. What is an API? An API is like a bridge that allows your app to talk to other apps, services, or devices. It's a way for your app to request and receive data from another source over the internet. For example, if you're making a weather app, you can use an API to get up-to-date weather information from a weather service without having to create and maintain that data yourself. How do APIs work? Request. Your app sends a request to the API. This request usually includes what kind of information your app needs. For example, your weather app might request the current temperature in a specific city. Response. The API processes the request and sends back the data your app needs. In our weather example, the API might return the temperature, humidity, and weather conditions for the city you requested. Integration. Your app then takes this data and displays it to the user in a readable format. Example of API integration. Let's say you're building an app that shows the latest news headlines. You could use a news API like the one provided by newsapi.org. Your app would send a request to the API asking for the latest headlines, and the API would send back the data, which your app could then display. Using databases, local and cloud. As your apps become more complex, you'll need to store data. This could be anything from user preferences to high scores in a game. To store and manage this data, you'll use databases. Local databases. A local database stores data directly on the user's device. This is useful for apps that need to work offline or don't require sharing data between devices. For example, if you're building a to-do list app, you might use a local database to store the list items on the user's phone. Advantages: fast access to data because it's stored on the device. Works offline without an internet connection. Disadvantages: data is not shared across devices. Limited storage based on the device's capacity. Cloud databases. A cloud database stores data on remote servers accessed over the internet. This allows users to access their data from any device as long as they're connected to the internet. Cloud databases are ideal for apps where data needs to be shared or synced across multiple devices, like social media apps or online games. Advantages: data is accessible from anywhere with an internet connection. Easier to share and sync data across multiple devices. Disadvantages: requires an internet connection. Data access might be slower compared to local storage. Example of using databases. Let's say you're creating a note-taking app. If you use a local database, each user's notes will be stored on their own device. If you use a cloud database, users can access their notes from any device, and changes will be synced across all devices. Implementing authentication. As you start building more advanced apps, you'll want to keep your users' data safe and secure. This is where authentication comes in. What is authentication? Authentication is the process of verifying that someone is who they say they are. It's like checking someone's ID before letting them into a secure area. In apps, authentication typically involves a user entering a username and password to prove their identity. Why is authentication important? Security. Authentication helps protect user data from unauthorized access. Without it, anyone could access the app and the data it stores, which could lead to privacy issues. Personalization. By knowing who the user is, your app can provide a more personalized experience. For example, a music app could show the user their favorite playlists as soon as they log in. Types of authentication: username and password. The most common type of authentication. Users create a username and password when they first register, and they enter these credentials each time they log in. Social media login. Some apps allow users to log in using their social media accounts, like Facebook or Google. This is often more convenient for users because they don't have to remember another password. Biometric authentication. Some apps use fingerprints, facial recognition, or other biometric data to authenticate users. This method is becoming more popular, especially for secure apps like banking. Example of implementing authentication. Imagine you're building a photo sharing app. You want to make sure that only registered users can upload and view photos. You could implement a username and password system, requiring users to sign up and log in before they can access the app's features.